First time using this. This is pretty cool.
It's too funny. I am in the meeting. I am here. How many people we got in here? Oh, this is a YouTube. This is mine. Mute it. Mine.
Hello.
Playboy. Weirdo. Dude, I think I'm pretty sure I'm on mute. There's like a lot of people on here. I've never used SafeVchat before. Here. I'm muted, right? That means
Hi, is Steve there? Steven? Who's the moderator that's going to be asking questions? Hey guys, can anyone hear me?
I can.
Yes.
Yeah, you're good.
Yes,
Okay.
we can hear you.
Good. Well,
Yeah, we hear you.
all right, great.
I think we're waiting for someone to take the lead to moderate and ask some questions, but maybe a good time to just start out, kind of give us some info of where we're at and, anything that's happened over the last week since Mark had his meeting with the, that last group, I want to say, I forget what it was called, but the last webinar that Mark was on, if anything's transpired since then.
Since the emerging growth,
well, I'm not sure what you're asking. Because obviously I got to just watch. I can't talk about any insider news, so
Of course.
no news to tell you as of right now. I was asked to come in and answer some questions, but not stock or insider questions.
Of course. So looks like the official release date will be, I don't think that's an insider information, is now next Monday, right?
Yeah, yeah. We're going to be releasing officially. We're going to be releasing SafeVchat on Monday. Yeah, we were going to do it tomorrow, but we have some other. We wanted to tie it together. Our PR firm wanted to tie it together with some other events that are happening. So they asked us to wait a few more days.
Okay. And maybe are there any information you're able to share on maybe the sales, the development of the product in the US, Canada, Europe, Asia? What is your short term, near term, and longer? I'm sorry, long term goals regarding SafeVchat?
Well, the numbers will be, in our next queue. The numbers will be posted. I could not say anything about those right now. You realize that.
Of course.
So we are putting on new. I will say this, that we are working on. Several new partners came on. Distribution partners, what we've been working on around the world, and which is going to help add to our our global footprint. And you'll see something about that very soon. And we have new partners in Africa. We have partners in Middle East. We have new partners in Europe. So you'll see something about that pretty quickly.
Nice, very nice. Thank you.
Right now, we're getting them all trained. And by the way, when you put on a new partner, they don't come out that day, knocking sales down. You got to train them. It takes a week or two of getting training. You got to train all their salespeople. They got to hook up to the APIs to be able to pull products through the API integration and stuff like that. So all those things are in progress right now.
And just out of curiosity, so you have a sales team. How large is your sales team? And do you have a technical staff that's here to help customers implement? Do you feel confident that you're staffed enough on this side to ensure the growth of the product and the sales?
Well, I don't think I think it's rare that a company feels that they have enough people. We all wish we had more people, right? And it's no different here. But the good thing is we are in a hiring phase right now. We're looking to put on additional people to represent. Well, we're looking on putting on channel development. We're looking to put on marketing folks right now. So that's a very good thing. And we've been interviewing literally on a daily basis. So, because the channel, if you look at historically, the big cybersecurity companies, and maybe differently, but in cybersecurity, if you look at the RSAs, and they're the 800 gorilla in this industry, you look at the Semantics, you look at the McAfees, you look at the Avasts, you look at any of those companies, Cisco, right? They all grew through channel. So having a strong channel is absolutely imperative, because that's from the companies like back. I remember 15 years ago when RSA was a multi-billion-dollar company because they had a channel of hundreds of dealers around the world that represented their products. And if you have the right product and you have the distribution, well, the rest comes kind of naturally. So we really have with our SafeVchat product, we're really setting a gold standard for what video conferencing security should be. So now the key is for us to develop that channel. It's nurture the channel folks that we have today, add new ones every day, and then build those on a global scale. So that's what we're looking to do. I mean, there's no nothing secret about that. That's always been our goal. We needed the right products and the right application, and having this cloud service. If you look at the companies like Salesforce and others, how did they grow? They had a service offering that appealed to many. Our products, prior to the SafeVchat and Privacy Lock, we had technologies. We didn't have an application. We now have an application. We now can compete on a global scale of a Salesforce or one of those, or a company like that. We never had that before. We had technology. So if you're going to go in selling technology against another, authentication against another vendor by itself, you can go up against 40 vendors, 50 vendors, and if you're a small, undercapped company trying to knock on doors and sell, that's a tough road to hoe, believe me. But when you have an application, a service, cloud service that everyone could use, well, they don't have to sit there and determine between, is this token better than that token? Whose authentication system? The other big advantage that we have now is that, when you look at video conferencing, so almost 70% of all companies that use video conferencing, or I should say, 70% of companies actually pay for multiple services. If you're going to go out and put an authentication solution in someone's office, it's a big undertaking because it changes the whole dynamics, how people log in. There's a lot of training, stuff like that. Video conferencing, if you don't like that vendor, use that vendor. You don't like that vendor, use that vendor. So there's no big integration into an office, which is a huge, huge, huge advantage when you're selling, a solution, because it doesn't require 2 months of integration. It doesn't require training, and you don't stop people from not getting into their network, right? When you're in the authentication space, if you have a problem with the product, guess what? Your people aren't logging in. And now, they've got to have the support on staff. You've got to have the support on staff. So there's always that potential of being, problems. But when you have a service like what we have, first of all, you don't have to sell video conferencing, right? It's the new norm. Everyone's using it. And secondly, is that since 68% of companies pay for multiple services. Why? Because if this one isn't running or that one is too jammed, I'll use that one and that one. Well, the great thing for us is that none of those technologies out there have security built in, and that's a huge advantage that we have over all the competition. When you look at the Zooms of the world or the WebExes of the world, I mean, we built more cybersecurity in 10 months than Zoom built in 10 years. We built more cybersecurity in 10 months than WebEx built in 28 years. Now, I say, what's their excuse? All right, because guess what? All those guys, some of those companies have upwards of $1 billion in cash revenues in the bank, cash that they could go out and spend. But guess what? What we've built, we've spent years and years building and patented. And that's the other thing, is that the technologies that we're using in SafeVchat are all patented technologies. So it's not that a company can just turn around. You don't just buy, or put it like this, a cybersecurity Band-Aid doesn't work. Unless your platform is built from the ground up with authentication, it's just not going to cut the muster when it comes to truly securing, those communications. So what we have in taking our authentication technology, and by the way, I wrote a blog about this on SafeVchat. Our technology, our authentication, we actually, two of our biggest clients actually, if for those that don't know about SolarWinds, back in December, there was a major breach to the U.S. government. It was called the SolarWinds Breach. And all these companies were running this SolarWinds software, and it had gotten breached by Russian operatives, and that's how they broke into the government all over the place. But two of our biggest customers, both of them our authentication technology prevented that Solarwinds breach. So I wrote a blog about it and put it on SafeVchat. And the reason why I'm saying that is because that same core technology is built into SafeVchat. And that is what's going to help make companies extremely secure when they want to log in for having secure meetings. Like one of the things I could do as a meeting manager, I could set the level of security that I want all of you folks to come in at. And having that capability of stepping up the level of security, there's not another company out there in the world that can do that. There's not a single other video conferencing vendor that can offer out step-up authentication as part of that login process. And additionally, if you look at all the video conferencing vendors out there, they're essentially the video conferencing vendors. Not a single video conferencing vendor out there is a cybersecurity company. But we are the only cybersecurity company that's a video conferencing vendor, or has a video conferencing service. So that gives us a huge leg up on all the competition, because when you look at video conferencing, what do you need to do? Essentially, you got to have access control. You got to make sure that no one can get in the meeting that shouldn't be in the meeting. Well, no other vendors have that today. Why? Because they're not authentication vendors. They don't get it. And even if they were to go out and buy a company, I mean, Zoom spent, who knows what Zoom spent last year. They bought an encryption company, and it's still yet to even be heard of what's going on with that. And they probably spent $75 or $100 million. I don't know what they spent, but probably a bunch of money on the company. And they did it because they got a black eye because of all their breaches. What have they done with it? Absolutely nothing. So you just can't even go out and buy a company and patch your foundation with it, because unless it's built from the ground up with security, it's just not going to be a secure solution. Then the other thing is, so not only do we have authentication, we'll be announcing it soon. This is not anything secretive, so I could share this with you. But I just spent about 5 hours yesterday testing the latest of our feature set. And we just added 6 more authentication modalities to our authentication platform for video conferencing. So, now we have it in our beta platform right now. We'll be moving that up to our dev platform, within the coming days or week. But what that does is it gives a lot more options to companies when using video conferencing. For example, I log into this meeting with my fingerprint, and next week I'll be able to log in with facial recognition. Vendors aren't even thinking of that, and that's the advantage of having a cybersecurity company back in the technology, especially on the authentication side. Then what we did was besides authentication, what else was StrikeForce doing? It was doing desktop security and mobile security. So now we built our privacy lock, and the privacy lock is designed, and I have it running right now on this system. And essentially, I'm protecting everything all of you say. I'm protecting my microphone. I'm protecting us. As a go out and pull your conferencing client. So if you got a WebEx client out there that basically exploits it, as soon as I exploit it, I actually could watch your video conference and you don't even know I'm in it. There's no black box up on the screen. You don't even know that there's a person sitting there, but they're listening to everything that's being said. Or they'll exploit your video, your desktop client, and they'll say, give me a copy of that video conference. But it's not only a video conference. What they're getting is they're getting important data, PHI data, personal health, personally identifiable information. Could be GDPR, it could be SOX, it could be HIPAA, And all these governances or PCI DSS. So every one of these governing bodies today, they have regulations and compliances, and none of these other products protect against that. And that's the one really huge area that we have advantage on the desktop, is that we protect you. We now make you compliant with all your guideline requirements, whether it's SOX or GDPR or NYDFS, any of those regulatory compliances that we're all governed in business. Just about all businesses are governed by them in one way, shape, on the industry. So we protect against those. We make you compliant, which is a huge leg up. People that they're just starting to learn about now with our privacy lock. And then it will also be, so we just launched that on Windows platform. We're now going to make a Mac desktop version of that. We did that in the past with a Guard. We Windows first, Mac second. So we'll build a Mac version of that, and then we'll turn our attention to our mobile app, and then we'll build those same type of securities and protection into mobile as well. So this way we protect with strong authentication where that fire. We're only going to allow in who should get in. Then we're going to protect everything you do on your desktop, and we're going to protect everything you do on your mobile. And then while you're doing all that, we're going to make you compliant with every regulatory body that governs whatever industry you're in. So that's, again, those are huge advantages that we have that other products on the market just don't have. And it's not that they can go out and build it in either, because there's not another video conferencing vendor that's a cybersecurity company. So they don't understand cybersecurity. And that's why their products, with $1 billion cash in the bank, Zoom gets Zoom bombed each and every day. That's why, people get in on, WebEx meetings every day.
And that's probably where you're going to have a lot on your mind when the product comes out. But what do you feel, and maybe to educate myself and the other investors that are here, maybe not as familiar with the product, you feel your main markets are going to be for the next year, a couple of years? Is it, are you protecting, for sure, probably government is one of them. The health sector might be one of them. Education might be one of them. Do you have anything to do with protecting, and that's going to be huge in the next couple of years, anything, blockchain, cryptocurrency? What do you feel your strongest markets are going to be?
That's an interesting question. So there are certain things that are obvious, right? Healthcare, HIPAA data, that's an obvious one. Anywhere where it needs to be secured. So healthcare, financial services, that's a natural, you don't even got to think about that. You think about we're starting the process of getting certified by the government, for the government through they have a regulatory process that you go through. So we're saying that. So health, financial services, education is one. I can't tell you the countless emails and phone calls I get from principals of schools, of universities, and the likes of that, where I had a woman call a teacher, a dean in Midwest call me the other day, literally crying because she was begging me. She goes, "Will SafeVchat help protect our students?" And I said, "Ma'am, what's the matter? Can I help you?" Teach kids, and got in on a Zoom class. A bunch of graders started flashing his junk in front of a bunch of five-year-olds, not 5 graders, sorry, 5-year-olds. and some guy gone and just put a flashlight on his, you know, he started screaming. Then all the parents called, all the parents called the principal, and now they're threatening lawsuits. And she just called me up and she was hysterical, crying, and I assured her that it'll never happen with our software. And let me just give it to you here. Start using it tomorrow. And so we're seeing education as a huge opportunity. You know, there's some things that we got to do for education, because education requires some things like out rooms. Those are rooms, we never heard of it, but it's important for education. So we have to, build that. But not all teachers and not all schools use breakout rooms. So we do have a huge opportunity. And on the other side, privacy lock is, the greatest thing about privacy lock is, so not only does it make SafeVchat even more secure than it is, but it protects you when you're on Zoom. It makes Zoom more secure than Zoom is. It makes, WebEx more secure than what WebEx is. It makes Meet Me Now more secure than what Meet Me Now is. So we actually make every video conferencing vendor more secure than they are. So the real advantage we have there is that we have some large organizations that have reached out saying, hey, look, I just spent 2 years building in Teams, and $1 million. I hate to rip that out overnight, but can you start protecting us with privacy lock today? And the answer is yes. So, for those opportunities, and there are a lot of them, education is going to be a huge opportunity for us. So, like I said, for some of the education, we still already they can take at least our privacy lock now. Breakout rooms we have to build for those, and then there's a couple of standardized middleware programs that education uses, like Moodle and others, where it helps with rendering and scheduling. So we have to open up some APIs for those. So software is a work in progress, right? You always build and build and build, and there's enough out there today. There's enough. There's more than enough us today. We don't, but of course we're going to, because we want to get. But every time we turn around, there's another market that we're just hearing of that needs our technology. For example, one of our California dealers called us and said, "Hey, listen, you can now buy cars over the phone, over a video conference, because a lot of people don't want to go down to the dealer. So you can literally, call into the dealer. They'll get on a video conference with you, and they'll walk you. They'll leave your easy chair, and then they'll deliver the car to you that day or the next day. So and those dealers are all using video conference now to do that. So now we have, we think that places like that, a lot of portfolio management, insurance companies, people aren't going down. The reps aren't going out to people's houses anymore. Those things just aren't happening. So those places have opportunities, and also if you think about affiliate marketing, right? How many of those companies out there, not to use the Amways, but the Amway, as an analogy, those companies have every one of those companies have tens of thousands of reps across the country that sell product, and they're all using video conferencing to do that. Think about real estate. Brokers, they're very often now using video conferencing for that. So we have some of our vendors are to build up, specialize in that area. So while you're in government, there's always have your standard go to the right, but the new normal of video conferencing has opened up a whole new slew of verticals that no one ever knew was even possible before. And these are all places that we can, our software works out perfectly because these are places that are being governed by whether it's HIPAA, whether it's, PCI DSS, whether it's SOX or, NYDFS or one of them, they're all being compliance. We think is going to be a major driver. That's what's really going to give us a one-up on a lot of companies is that compliance driver that because you look at the Zooms of the world, they can't come in and say they meet, any of these compliances because they don't. They don't authenticate every user. They don't protect the end user's computer from, data, being exfiltrated, whereas we can say that. So that gives us a huge leg up in conferencing. And we have something also very unique. We have SafeVchat and Privacy Lock. They're both standalones, but Privacy Lock is also there to protect Zoom. There to protect, Me Now and Join Me and and Skype and every other program that you use for video conferencing. So we see that that whole collaboration space as being a space that is underserved by cybersecurity, and that's where we'll be building tools and utilities to really step into that collaboration space. Collaboration, communications, video conferencing. A lot of people call it different things, but it's all wrapped around that, and that gives us a tremendous advantage over the competition.
You mentioned you mentioned to get into the government business. Is it? I don't know anything about that business. Is it a lengthy process? Are we talking 3 months, 6 months, a year?
You can't put a time frame on it. It's a lengthy process. You got to go through. There's a long road. It could be 6 months to a year. At least we hear from other vendors that have gone through that. So we have some people working with us that are going to help us. It's one of those things you got to navigate, but you can't put a time frame on it because you just don't know how long it's going to take. Party people there's many schedules and groups of people that you need to get involved with. We're gonna, we have started the process, but can't put a time frame on how long it's going to take. And government is not and government, while I see state and local be an easier potential sell, federal, once you get it up there and you get it certified. But I remember, several times people telling me, what, you go see a government agency, they'll look at your software now, they'll budget for it next year, and the money gets appropriated the next year. So don't think of government as while you can get big hits in the government, it can take quite a long ramp to get there. So I wouldn't count on anything today for government, that's for sure.
That collect. Right.
Yeah, well, yeah. Horror stories of companies that had they got themselves all set up with the government and nothing ever happened. It cost them hundreds of thousands of dollars to get there, and nothing happened. Then you hear the story that someone gets there and they get a $5 million order or a $10 million order the next week.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hit and miss. I think that we have the right products. We're starting the process. We'll see how long it takes us. But there's more business than what we need just in the non-government space. There really is, because everyone's governed by requirement by compliances, and with government you gotta have all these certifications. With the local high school or college or any of the financial firms or healthcare, they're not making you jump through all those hoops and have all those certifications and stuff like that. So, it's the type of thing that you start a track, you have a group that's, someone that's going after that, but you got to have many other irons in the fire, because there's so much other opportunity out there, way beyond government.
Can anyone hear me?
Yes.
You can hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. This is Steve Hayes, actually.
Yes, Steve.
I really appreciate you coming on here.
No problem.
I jumped into your company a few months ago when I seen your video and your enthusiasm around this product. Okay, and it's really rare to find a company in the OTC market that's as open and authentic as you are, and your company seems to be. All right. So everybody's a little leery at this stage in the game when it comes to new companies coming in and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But I could personally see where you guys have been and what you're trying to achieve. And I think it's remarkable, to be honest with you. Now, as far as other people asking questions about the platform itself, have you ever been in a meeting with this many members before?
Yeah, I've actually been on a meeting with about 100, just shy of 100. I think it was 94 people.
All right. Now, I know people were talking about over in the where you type the message. All right. There's a pop-up box that comes up and that sort of blocks that. Is that something that's going to try to be corrected, or I don't even know? I'm totally know nothing about tech, so
I just popped it up. It didn't block anything, so I just popped up the chat box. It's not blocking anything. So do you have more specifics? Do people know what everything is on the platform?
That's what I'm saying. I really don't even know the platform. I didn't
know. You know what? Here, let me share my screen. I'll kind of give you the cook's tour, as they say. All right, I just shared my screen. So on the left side, we have a chat box. So this is where everyone that's in here can chat. The middle box here, and you'll see we have a tooltip, and it says share your screen. So this is how people can share their screen. The next one allows people to raise and lower hands when they want to ask questions. They'll raise and lower hands, like you'll see it on my box. It's coming up this way in a large moderated or unmoderated environment. It's a way of keeping some control over things. In the middle of the thing, you can manage multiple microphones and cameras, and obviously there's a leave the meeting button. Over here, you can go from full screen to toggle mode, and that'll show the person of the screen that's talking. To the far right of that, so this is where you could do different things. For example, the first button is a lobby feature. So you can turn on a lobby feature, which means that even though people authenticate, they don't get into the meeting, and they're going to literally sit at the front door. So they'll knock on that door, and as a moderator, I would get a box that pops up on my screen that says Stephen would like access, and I could either grant him access or deny him access if I was on the phone or something for another minute. But no one actually goes into the meeting. Everyone has to be allowed in one at a time. We also add that, for example, for organizations, even over and above our multi-factor authentication, if you want to add, for example, another password and you want to text it out to people, well, you could add it here, and then only people with that password could come in. And then down here, we have our it's still in beta, our endpoint encryption. So we're still mucking around with that one a little bit, and that should be good to go by the end of this week. Then to the far right of this, we have some interesting stuff. So the first thing is probably the most important thing on this list, which is video quality. What we found out is that, when you're relying on your video, so you're on a video conference. I'm on Wi-Fi right now, right? Well, I may or may not be on a strong Wi-Fi connection. Well, what we did was we started analyzing that out in the industry and realized, this is something that other vendors really don't take into consideration. Well, if you don't have a good Wi-Fi, and meanwhile you have a decent laptop or a phone, and you're basically, let's say you have a good camera in there and you have high def. Well, guess what? So your computer is crunching a high def, video into a slow connection. Because let's say you're not close to your Wi-Fi, your booster, or you're not close to a Wi-Fi that's strong, or maybe you're on someone else's shared Wi-Fi. So what happens is that because your camera is trying to process high definition, well, it's going to slow down your video conference a little bit, make it a little bit more jittery, a little bit more choppy, a little bit slower. So what we realized, and we're the first vendor to do this, is allow you to actually step down your video quality. By stepping down your video quality, yeah, it gets a little grainier, but who cares if my quality is a little bit grainier? The fact that we could still see each other, we could hear each other, and we don't have that slowness or that choppiness in our conference, well, I'll take that any day over graininess. So we're allowing you to lower your video quality because of the rest of your conference, because your Wi-Fi is slow. So, we started working with things like that so that you could have a better experience. We also allow you to go in and at a full screen. Starting next week, you'll be able to live stream. So if you have like a podcast and you have a group of people in there, you could stream out to them. We'll be starting the recording shortly, so that you can tape the conference. You'll be able to do it either locally on your C drive or up onto a network. You could share YouTube videos right now, and you could grab just drop in this. Someone's sharing. Someone's got something shared already, and then you could go into your settings, and we're adding a whole bunch more features into the settings area, and then you can see like your speaker stats, and that's important when you have a large group. Also, we have a shortcuts box that shows you everything, but the real strength of this platform is it's not just the things that we're all seeing right now. It's what you don't see. So, for an example, and this is again where we're excelling beyond any company technology out there. So not only do we have this strong security platform that is access control that allows you to protect your from your camera stealing from you, any malware on your desktop. What we did was we realized that as video conferencing is becoming this new normal, and companies are going to continuously build this in, what's going to happen is that what we realized is that companies are going to want to run analytics. So what we actually did is in our the meeting manager side. So we're all in the meeting, but the other side of this is an actual meeting manager where you go in and you set up the meeting, right? And so that over there is where we're really excelling at also, not only just the cybersecurity that you're all seeing. For example, one of the things we did was we realized that, and because we're authenticating every user, we could run similar to a Google Analytics on your meetings. So what does that mean? Let me translate that into English now. So let's say I'm a large company. I have a global salespeople around the world. Maybe I have 50 salespeople, a couple in the East, a couple in the West of the US. I have some up in Canada. I have some in South America, wherever. Well, let's say that Mary, that's one of our top sales reps, we just closed our books for the quarter and we see that Mary sold 1,000 more red widgets than everyone else in your sales team. Well, one of the things that we can do that no other video conferencing vendor can do is you could actually run an analytics report against Mary, against your whole team. And what's very interesting is that it takes about 2 seconds to run an analytics report, and you'll see that Mary had 46% more video conferences than every other salesperson on your team. You'll see that Mary had 4.2 more people in per conference than every other one of your salespeople. You'll see that Mary spent 37 minutes and 19 seconds longer than your average salesperson. You'll see that Mary had a drop-off rate of only 10% short of the full conference for all of her people, whereas everyone else had a 50 to 75% drop-off 50% of the way into the conference. So what does that do? It helps you correlate directly to Mary's 51%, that Mary sold 1,000 more red widgets than everyone else, because you could actually analyze the statistics on Mary's video conferencing usage. So what we built is we built an analytics module, which is similar to like a Google Analytics. I draw the analogy that allows you to directly correlate someone's performance in their job to the usage of video conferencing. So that helps a company become more proficient, more efficient, and most likely more profitable by leveraging video conferencing. So now they could say, they can correlate it directly and say, all right, you know what, we got to start setting quotas for all of our salespeople. We need everyone to have, 20% higher, video conferencing usage, or however they want to manage their business. But this new medium of video conferencing, since we track everything that you do on it, we understand who came in, when they came in, how long they stayed. Not a single other vendor does that. Not a single vendor does that. Zoom does not do that. Microsoft Teams does not do that. Blue Jeans, Zoho, Meet Me Now, none of them do that. Absolutely none of them are drilling down to that level of granularity to be able to report back on it. And that, when I show that, when I'm talking with our partners to these large, Fortune and large companies, they just go crazy. I was with a hospital the other day showing it to them, and they were like, wow. So you're saying that we could apply metadata tags and actually, now search our video conferencing and understand where it's being used and, who's doing what. And the answer is yes. So, the ability to use an analytics engine to search, and one of the things we'll be doing is building in meta tags and, being able to search metadata. We think that again is, what are we trying to do? We're trying to excel at certain areas. We're excelling at security. We're excelling at ease of use. No client, you just use a browser. We're excelling at being compliance, that you'll meet all your compliance requirements. We're going to excel at being able to look at the analytics of a video conference to help your company. And these are things that these video conferencing guys out there, they're not thinking of. They're not even dreaming of going down that road, because the problem is that their systems are all seriously flawed. And because they're so seriously flawed, they just can't do those things. And it's because when we built this from the ground up with multi-factor authentication, and we built in a rules engine with a authorization database, that gives us a very, 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 very big one up. So unless I enter you into unless I authorize you to be in a meeting, there's no way that you could ever get into that meeting. If I don't put you in that meeting, and if I don't add you to my meeting authorization database, you do not get in that meeting. That means no one else gets in that meeting. But by putting you into that concept, and the way we built this hierarchy and this architecture, it gives us the ability to do all of those things. And the reason I'm saying about the other platforms is because I know Teams very well. We use it. We were using Teams for months and months and months. I use Zoom for months and months and months. We use, Meet Me Now and Zoho and Blue Jeans. And, I could just go up and down the list of the platforms that we looked at, and every one of them are seriously flawed from the ground up in their architecture. And because of that, they're just not going to be able to do the things that provide the level of assurances, the level of security, as well as the level of analytics that we could do. So again, that gives us a huge one-up. It gives us multiple one-ups over everyone else.
George, I have a question that's in the chat, not necessarily mine. When does the facial recognition option will be available on Protect ID so we can set it up?
I'm hoping that it'll be sometime next week.
Nice.
But fingerprint is already there today. Yeah, if you're in there, if you're enrolled in Push with our Push app, so do you know our Push app?
No, I don't have it. No.
Oh, okay. So let me just show you things. I'm just gonna. You guys can see my phone, right?
Yes.
Okay. So a couple of things that we have on here. So for example, a couple of you already know our SafeVchat or mobile app, right? That's just right here. So I push that, and a couple of you guys are on the mobile app right now doing this meeting, because I could see you because you have it vertical. So we have that app is our mobile app, which is, we released it. It's free. It's for Apple and Android. You just download it, and then you can
used it, but
you can attend this meeting with your mobile, and everything that I showed you before, everything that you see on the screen, it's identical here. There's not a single feature that I showed you before that isn't in here. Now we have a separate app. We have our PID app. I'm just going to launch it there, and this is it. And in the store, it's called our Protect ID Authenticator. Now, what this app does, it does a couple of interesting things. So, number one, if you're not familiar what push technology is, so push is it's a technology. I always liken it to think of what a text message is, right? So if I texted any one of you, you'd get a box on your screen saying, hey, text from George, right? Well, push message is that there's an app that sits on this phone that when you go to log into it, well, when you do something, you're going to get a message, but the message knows that this phone is the only phone that gets it in the world. So in that app that sits on here, it's kind of like it knows your phone number, and this is the home base for that app. So in our push app that's on the phone, what happens is that I could do multiple things. For example, when I go to log in to this meeting, I put in my email address, and if I type the word push, P-U-S-H, in the password field, and I hit sign in 1 nanosecond, there is a message on my phone saying, do you want to log into SafeVchat, accept or deny? And it pops up on my screen. And I either accept it or I deny it. If I hit accept, I'm in the meeting. If I hit deny, it doesn't allow me in, right? So it's my way of authorizing that access or denying that access. Well, that same app that I have here on my phone does another thing. It actually does two more things. So not only does it handle a push, but it also handles, I'm just going to launch it. It handles what we'll be launching in a couple of, we will be launching in a couple of days, which is our OTP generator. OTP, one-time passcode. So I don't know if you could see, I'll hold it real close. If you see the second one, let me just go back. You see the second line here. So that says generate an OTP. So if I wanted to log in to either the meeting portal or meeting, I'll put my email and watch this. I'm going to just hit get OTP. Let me put my finger on it. I'll say get OTP. And look at that. It just gave me an 8-digit code to log into. So now I'm doing a two-factor authentication. So here I am, I'm putting in my email, and only this phone in the world, this is the only phone right now that can generate that OTP. Along with that, we now have fingerprint and facial through this application. So if you're using our push app, when you go to log in, you'll put, right now we tell you to write push FP for fingerprint. You do that, and my app opens up. It says, please swipe your finger to get in. So it does a biometric. Next week, it'll say face. You'll say, but we're going to change we're going to have you just write bio in there. So you put your email, you put the word bio, and then our algorithm will say, if you're a fingerprint reader, it'll ask you for your fingerprint. But if you have like an iPhone 12, which does have a fingerprint, we'll see that and we'll know that you're a facial recognition user. And then we'll ask you to please put your face in front of the camera. So again, these are things that no one else out there in the world has to, can offer out there, because no other, video conferencing vendor is an authentication vendor with 9 different methodologies. And what will be pushing out there in the coming days is that we'll actually have 9 different authentication modalities. So, and again, that's to, there's not a vendor that adds a second one. In fact, most of the vendors, 99% of vendors don't even have authentication. You share a link with people and then they can just get in with that link. Whereas we'll have 9 methods for a meeting for an admin or a creator. And then we'll have, right now we have 2 methods for participants, and then we're going to increase that by a couple of more. We'll add for participants. But right now, the real security is wrapped around getting into that meeting portal, because you can never let a person that should not get into that meeting portal get in there. Because what's in there? Well, if you're a Fortune company, that's where all your databases are, where all the users are. And so the last thing you want is to let them see, that whole roster of employees Plus, if you have emails and phone numbers associated with them, well, you don't want them to get that. Or if you had in if you're a C-level executive and you have Bill Gates or Elon Musk's info in there, you don't want someone to get that. That's why you got to lock down that portal. No one should ever get in that portal without what we call two-factor out-of-band authentication. That's our patent. And we're the only vendor in the world that offers that as access control to their portal. So that's another major win for us, again, because of our platform.
Hey, George, I got a question.
I got a quick question.
Yeah.
On our view with the tiles, is there a way that you can organize them either alphabetically for like a teacher wanting to take attendance, or if our company wanted to do ownership at the top, kind of like a hierarchy of the company, and then have Salesforce management team, et cetera? Is there a way a administrator or moderator can organize that?
Okay, so I actually heard two questions there, but I'm not sure if they were actually two or one. So one of the questions is, no, we don't have a way of organizing the tiles themselves yet. We don't have a way of organizing that yet. In fact, no one's ever actually asked me that. So I'm just writing it down right now.
You're welcome.
And I'm going to ask the dev team about that. Then the other thing is, you did ask a question about, like, were you referring to the branding up on the top that said SafeVchat, where if you were a large company, Deloitte and Touche, and you want your logos up there? Is that what you were referring to?
No, it was kind of in the same question as maybe alphabetically, just if I could organize who I want across the top of the tiles and then the next layer of tiles.
Mm-hmm. I was actually trying to do it without knowing you were going to
ask. I was trying to move them.
Yeah, no, we don't have any of that. I can tell you that there's nothing like that in there, but I do like that idea. You know, generally, if you have like 16, if you have like 14 or less, you usually have everyone up on the screen at one time, right. And it's not as much of an issue. But obviously with larger audiences, it becomes an issue. It's something that I'll talk to the team about and see if there's, and by the way, we take all suggestions we love suggestions, because that's how we have features, by recommendations from folks.
Especially when you were trying to show us the product on the phone, I was naturally with my mouth trying to put, your picture on try to place it at a different site, and I naturally try to do it. Maybe that's a good feature.
Yeah, so we're always open to showing, to taking suggestions on new features. So
I would think for a school teacher, just attendance-wise, if everybody was alphabeticalized and they've got their way of taking attendance, it would be easier for a teacher to just go, okay, you're here, that one's missing, this one's missing. To me, it would seem like it would be a little easier than calling off their names and trying to see if they're really here.
Yeah. Well, remember, everyone's going to put their, teachers, you're going to sign in, you're going to have a name, and it's going to,
okay.
It'll show up on your tile. And by the way, I did forget to say this to you before, that what do you call it? You can also private message anyone. So those three dots in the top right-hand corner of the window screen, if you click it, if you go over them, you'll be able to actually, send private messages to that individual and stuff like that. So I did forget to show you that. But another thing that we have a huge advantage on is, and we've had companies ask us about this already, in Canada and some government agencies, that so when we built this platform, we also built it that not only can the platform, does it sit up in our cloud or Amazon cloud setup, but we built it that it can be brought in-house or put on someone else's virtual private network. And that's something that none of the other products do. They'll let you take a piece or two of their platform, but you can't manage it 100%. Our system, if there's a company, and let's say it's a government agency, it's a large, multi-international company, they say, look, security is top priority for us. We don't even want Amazon. We don't want anyone holding any debt. We don't want anyone controlling anything. Our system can be put 100% on premise. It could sit 100% in your own virtual private network. And we have not found another video conferencing system that can do that. Like I said, one or two of them, they'll let you hold like a database, but not the whole system. Here, we'll give you the whole system on your premise, and then and we'll teach you how to manage it. But so if a company wants to manage absolutely 100% of it, they can. And that's, again, something that we do that no one else does.
Thank you for answering that question. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for asking it.
And Mark,
I've got
or George,
a question
sorry.
real quick.
Go ahead.
As far as you were mentioning that a lot of companies have more than one platform that they use because one could be down or one could be at capacity.
Yep.
Do you have a capacity of how many users can be logged on at once, or how many meetings you can have going at the same time before your system becomes bogged down or overloaded?
Yeah, you know what? That's been one of our one of the biggest areas that we've been working with is scalability. Because when you roll out a platform and you're gonna say, hey, look, this is going to be ready anytime for any amount of meetings for as many people on any meeting as they want. That's a daunting task, thinking about, what happens if a million companies sign on and want to have a meeting right now? And each meeting has 5 to 10 people. Can you handle 10 million people, right? And what happens if a 10 million and one company signs on what they want to do it? Where does your bandwidth go? How does that all work? So we've been working with very closely with Amazon and a couple of their top partners in designing our platform so that it can scale to meet the needs. And today, I wouldn't say that if we had 50 million people today, it most likely would not work. However, we're working with having both East Coast as well as European, Asian, and Amazon platforms all over the world ready. See, Amazon's all over the world, but you still have integral areas that you have, a platform set up for that geographic area. So we're doing that right now, and we're working with this company that's building us this whole auto scripting and auto scaling platform. Now, I'm not the guys on that side, but I can tell you I sat in on enough meetings to know that this platform is going to be ready to scale to any size as fast as they need. In fact, we just had basically we had this dashboard built for us that looks at every aspect of our platform, and it tells us how many people are on, how many meetings are in place, how much bandwidth are they taking, down to the kilobytes. And then you could literally see globally as people sign on, the dots show up. We're having, this platform that's going to allow us to, at a glance of an eye, you could see the health of your network, your global network, and then you segment it down to either by IP address or by geographic address or by city, state, or country, and you'll be able to zero down, just click down, 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 drill down to see usage. And we had that built for us, and because we want to be able to manage this globally. So the answer is that today, we couldn't take on 50 or 100 million people today, but my guys are telling me that there'll be no problem to handle millions of people right now, and we're just at the beginning stages of scaling this up. So we're going to scale it pretty rapidly over the coming weeks, to a month or so, where this thing can scale anywhere around the world for as many people as needed. So we have the foundation for that, and we're literally building it as we speak.
Thank you.
How does that work with the language translation? Like the platform, I see English. Okay, will that be translated over?
So once we have it at a point that it needs to be translated, we haven't had a single person globally ask us to have this translated yet. Now, the application itself is, there's not much writing here that need to be translated. There's just not a lot of stuff here. The meeting manager, the meeting portal, there's more that would need to be translated there. Now, the good thing is that we know translation companies very well. We actually maintain two of our products are maintained in multiple languages. Like our Guarded ID is in, right now it's in French and English, but at one point we actually had that translated for 11 languages. We have let me back that up. So we have Guarded ID and Mobile Trust right now in English, French, Chinese, and South Korean. And, so the point is that we've worked with translation companies to do that. We understand how they work, how to get the files to them, how to take the files back. And we all use Unicode when we develop this, so that it's easy to, have, German show up in it, or Italian or French or whatever. So we get it, we understand it, we do it with our other products. But we don't have any plans to localize, and we call that localizing it. We don't have any plans for localizing SafeVchat right now. We haven't had any. I'm going to write it down anyway, but we haven't had any, not a single person ask us, can you have SafeVchat in German? Again, because SafeVchat is initially it's more for the enterprise, and most enterprises speak English around the world, so you can pretty much get by with English. But we will be selling it to consumers as well, and we may have to do some localization. But we haven't. But no one's reached out to us and asked us about that yet. I'm just writing it down just to put it in my notes here. Any other questions?
As far as marketing, okay, because it sounds like you have a whole lot of stuff to offer for many different segments going on.
Mm-hmm.
What is there a way of contacting your marketing department? What can we as investors be able to do to help out, get the word out about these products? Because basically it just sounds like once this hits the road, it could just take off and run.
Yeah. That's our biggest challenge right now is marketing. We are hiring right now. And, again, remember something. So we're looking to sell this through distributors, right? Through through resellers. We'll eventually, in the not too distant future, allow people to go and buy it too. Also, right from our site, we're building a portal for our partners to log in, and also a commerce portal where people can buy it. We'll have like a privacy lock. Commerce will probably be up there in the next 24 to 48 hours. And then right after we launch SafeVchat, we'll allow people to go there and sign up and pay and also do that. But the initial direction is to work with the channel partners first, right? Because the channel partners, they have, every one of them have existing customers. Every one of them I've been feeding leads to. And so, we've been, and meanwhile, we're just starting to get our PR all charged up, and as soon as SafeVchat launches a week from Monday, you're going to start to see a lot more marketing going on. You don't want to market something too soon before the product's even out there, because you don't want to get people all hyped up and they can't go and buy the product, right? So they don't have anywhere to go buy it from. So that changes as of next week, next Monday. So so we didn't want to do too much marketing, just trickle marketing right now. Some may like the idea, some may not like that idea, but we gotta be realistic. And if you can't sell it today, then you really can't tell too much about it. So that's why we said we have this controlled rollout of this, and we've been, we put hundreds and hundreds of people and companies in here that have been using it, and we're now, we're about to turn on the, say, all right, guys, you've been using it. Now it's time to start paying for it. But up to now, we've been, putting people in it for free and letting them use it, and taking their very valuable recommendations and what we should build into it. And so that was well worth it to let folks use it for the last month, 2 months, absolutely free. So we're about to change that. We already did some of our resellers. We already talked about getting them starting to charge. And now over the next couple of weeks, everyone will be charging for everything. Of course, we'll still let a large company wants to come in, they want to test it for a couple of weeks. Of course, they could test any other product out there free. We're not going to be any different from that. But after a couple of weeks, it's, hey, you want to use it, start paying. Especially at the charge. If you think about it, if you look at the average company out there, they're far, we're less expensive than they are, and they don't have the level of technology security that we have built into it. So we're certainly the best option at the best price, the highest level of security, the highest level of assurance and compliance requirements. So, it should be a no-brainer. And again, you don't have to sell video conferencing today. You still have to sell authentication or keystroke encryption if you're going to go speak to a company, but you don't have to sell video conferencing. Everyone uses it every day, practically. So we think this is going to be we really think it's a no-brainer. And especially since 68% of companies pay for three plus companies, not just another one. They pay for 3+ companies. Because what do you pay? $16 a user a month, But the real value, and again, really where we see our money coming from, it's not only from charging, because not everyone uses video conferencing, right? You have a company with 100 people, maybe 25 to 40 use video conferencing, but 40 don't. Well, guess what? So they'll pay for the 25 to 40 for SafeVchat, but they'll pay for all 60, all 100, they'll use privacy lock for, because everyone's always getting on video conferences. And because with privacy lock, it also protects your keyboard, your clipboard, and from unwanted screenshots all the time while it's on. So it's not just protecting you when you're on a video conference. It's protecting you like right now. All right, right now we're on a video conference, and if I type something on my keyboard, it's completely protected. But it will protect me even when I'm not on SafeVchat. And when I'm just type in, if I go to an online form and I fill out that form, my keystrokes are protected. I'm protected from malware, taking unwanted screenshots and trying to steal from my clipboard. And so every person in the company needs privacy lock. So we really see that as the, think of it as the razor and razor blades, right? Not everyone needs the razor, but everyone needs the razor blades. So, and the other thing is that a huge value, a no-brainer is that not only are you taking SafeVchat, but when you're using Zoom, you're more secure. You're protected when you're now using a Zoom conference. Because even if you take SafeVchat, people are going to be inviting you to their meetings. You're not only, you don't host every meeting yourself. You're going to be invited to meetings all day long from other people. So now you're protected when you're going on to those other meetings. Your computer's protected. And that's key. I want to know that if I go on to it, someone sends me a link and I jump on a Microsoft Teams meeting later on, I'm protected. Well, guess what? With SafeVchat and Privacy Lock, what we call the premium, right, the bundle of the two, you're protected when you do Zoom or Teams or any of those other products. So
Can I ask about your support team? There's a question regarding that.
Yeah, well, again, the first level of support through the partners is when you have a manufacturer reseller relationship. The reseller is the first level of support, and we become the second level of support. We support the channel partner. The channel partner supports the customer. So when Cino Limited sells, XYZ real estate, XYZ real estate is working with Cino on, first level of support. And then we are Cino's, second level. If Cino has an issue or they can't figure something out, then they reach out to us and we help them. And if need be, we'll get it, obviously we'll get involved with the customer. But when you have a manufacturer reseller relationship, they always handle tier one support. And that's another reason why you want that. So not only are they extensions of your company, but they're also extensions of your support team.
So George, I think you just talked about it recently, a couple questions back, but just to follow up on it. So Mark did mention that a number of major companies were in the process of testing it. Naturally, we understand that names can't be mentioned. What's the preliminary feedback been from these big companies? And for lack of a better term, at what point would it be, shit to get off the pot as far as paying for those services?
The feedback's been phenomenal, and the part of starting to charge them, that's all going to start happening right now over the next week to 2 weeks. Everyone, when all resellers came on at different points in time. I'm still training resellers, and they're just putting on people for the very first time. So we've got 9, 11 partners, 4 more coming on, over the next couple of days. They're all at one different level or another, and it's also based on when the people came in and started using it. And everyone started putting people in a couple of weeks ago. So other than some existing resellers, people have been using it for a month and a half, 2 months. So it's all kind of turning over right now to the people that have been using it. They're going to start paying for it right now. And the new people, if they're, like I have one reseller call me this morning and says, hey, he just wants to come on and pay. Can I start paying today? I said, yeah, that's it. Start paying it today. So over the next week to 2 weeks, and again, the one thing we haven't really beat on anyone's head about is because it actually doesn't launch the next Monday, right? So it's hard to really say, well, you got to give me money, but you didn't even launch the product yet.
Yep.
So, so we've been very lenient with them. We want good feedback. We don't want to, we don't want to, beat up the reseller if we found a bug or two. And the good thing is we haven't. So, we also want to, get ample usage and people to demo it, beta test it for us until that point that you pull the plug and say, all right, it's now time to pay. I mean, when you're Microsoft, you have the advantage of having 7 billion copies of your software out there. The world is your beta tester, right? But we're not like that. We don't have that type of capability out there, usage. So you can't you can't count on that. So we have to work with the partners and the people that have reached out to us and want to test it and put them on it. But it's all turning over right now over the next week or so.
Great. Thanks so much.
Any other questions? Because then I do got to jump to, that's a couple of the people calling me, wanting to get in on.
I have a real quick one. You said earlier, you had some contacts overseas, things like that. Can you say or not say, and I guess if you can't, if the interest is more in privacy lock, SafeVchat, I know you have a combination package. Is it split 50-50 or is there more interest in one than the other?
You know what? When we started, certainly the interest is more around SafeVchat, but that's also because when we started telling the world, we kind of joined SafeVchat Premium, talk about protects the camera, the microphone. We kind of bundled it all, and when we explained it, told the bigger picture of security, right? It protects your camera, your microphone, two-factor authentication, does this, this, and this. So we kind of early on described it as a full package. So the interest was around that. But we're finding that a lot of people, clearly SafeVchat is the secure video conferencing. The emails I got from people that I get every day from people are, I want to drop Zoom. I want to drop Microsoft Teams. I can't wait to get away from these, for numerous reasons, and they want to use SafeVchat. But there's an equal amount of people that want to protect that desktop when they're on, when they're using other products too.
Right.
So I can't say right now, is it 50-50? Is it, I just don't have a good feel for that. Okay. But SafeVchat is in 99% of the times, the emails that we get when people talk to us, it's around SafeVchat.
Okay.
So that seems to be, and like I said, I don't know if that's because we were strictly saying it does everything, and so people are thinking, well, I want the whole package, versus if they knew it was actually two packages, maybe the numbers will be 90-10. I mean, time's going to tell over, right. But everyone wants a more secure video conference. That's without a doubt.
Thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
Thank you, George.
All right, I can answer one more. I got like 2 minutes more if anyone else wants to ask a question or two.
Well, George, this is Steve again. It sounds like you're going to have a whole lot of PR coming out soon, over the next few weeks, over the next month, throughout the year, and I definitely look forward to being part of the journey. I don't have any further questions if anyone else does.
I have a real quick question about earnings. Are they still scheduled for March 18th, I believe?
That's really Mark, the CEO.
Okay.
I barely even look in his direction. I got my plate full of everything else. So yeah. I don't see why. If he said that it's going to be out there, I haven't heard a single reason why they wouldn't.
Great.
But I don't even look in that direction. That's totally Mark. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate the opportunity to speak with all of you today. I'll leave off saying this. We've never been as so excited in our lives. We've never had an opportunity like this. You know, I know for a lot of you that might have been with us for a long time and you've gone through reverses and everything else. You know, we struggled for years, right? We struggled for years. And the technologies we had, and we're not making excuses why they didn't sell better. It was a tough road. And then when the pandemic hit, and then we hit on this opportunity, it's as if all of our building, everything that we built, you know, here's the funny thing. If we didn't spend all the time and energy in building those, we would not have the opportunity we have now. It's for those reasons that we have this opportunity, because the world didn't need another video conferencing system. The world needed a secure video conferencing system. The world needed a way to protect all the video conferencing vendors as well. So what we've struggled with for years to build is finally paying off, because this is what is making this opportunity so huge. And I can't even begin to tell you, you know, the things that we see on our side that, you know, drive us to working, you know, literally 18 hours a day. You know, this is happening, and it's happening in real time. And, you know, we're so excited. And the one question that one of the guys asked, is there anything that you guys could do? Is, yeah, every company, you know, tell them just to check out our software, you know, reach out to us. That would be the biggest thing. I'm not even saying for you to tell them to buy stock. I'm saying tell them they should check out our software. And, you know, if they're using video conferencing, they should be, you know, they should be a StrikeForce customer. And, you know, and you'll make a friend. They'll be happy once they start using this. And, you know, not only will they be happy that they're using it and be secure, but that's viral marketing, right? How it all adds up. You tell someone, they tell someone, they tell 5 people, they tell 10 people. And before you know it, you know, we build a groundswell. I am working on things like commercials and stuff like that. I mean, we plan on doing a lot of marketing this in the coming weeks to month, 2 months, 3 months. We have a pretty aggressive marketing plan. You're really going to see it out there, but even with the greatest of marketing plans, still word of mouth means everything, you know? So anything you guys can do to help, we truly appreciate it. Just know that we're, you know, busting our butts over here to make this happen. And we realize the opportunity. And we also realize, you know, we're not going to let that opportunity slip through our fingers. We're grabbing this ring, that brass ring, by the, you know, by the cojones, and we're not letting go. Right? We're not letting this one go. That's for sure. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate everything. I'm going to jump off. I got like 5 more calls. I got another conference I got to jump on in a minute. And I appreciate your feedback, your questions, and everything you guys have done to help us and support us all along. So thank you. Thank you all of you.
Thank you for your time again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'm glad to jump on more of these, Stephen. Just let me know.
Great. Really appreciate that. And so does everyone else.
Okay, cool. All right,
All right.
guys. Thank you very much.
Yep. Thank you.
Have a good one.
All right.